Welcome, folks. We're here with Build and Boost. We got a big show coming up for Winston Salem Piedmont 300 coming up here in just a few days. I mean, this is going to be a big show. UPOC started off with a great night of pulling in Wilson, North Carolina. Unfortunately, got rained out Saturday. We're going to be talking about points. We're going to be talking about a lot of other things that are going on in the pulling world. We're going to do a little quick recap of Bowling Green, Ohio, try to pull championships. But we got, I'm going to start adding them to the stage. We got Stephen Walker, Russell Mullens, and Lauren and Perry. Y'all were muted, by the way. There we go.
It's on purpose.
Oh, okay. It was on first. You trying to keep me straight. Hey, tell me what I'm doing. There you go. All right. So this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna hit Steven up first because I think right now, well, you and Perry are kind of in on this whole deal. But Steven, what's happening in just a couple of days? What do we got going on?
We're about to get real busy.
So the Winston-Salem Piedmont 300, y'all have had this show for a while. Y'all took a little break with COVID and then one other year to get things back in kind of going. But tell us a little bit about the prep you have to do for this track, because this is unusual for any facility, and to end up between you guys being such a great track. Tell us what goes on in prepping for this show.
Well, the main thing is we have to add about 60 foot of track, roughly, with a sled and where you can get off the end with the rollers and the scrape tractor. So we got to remove all the fence and move all the dirt and then have it all back in by Sunday morning. So me and Perry, we all work good as a team together, so we make it happen pretty quick.
I know last year y'all had a great show on Friday night, had a big crowd, and Saturday night everything was going good, and the good Lord said y'all needed some rain, and unfortunately we ended up ending a little bit early that night, but definitely had a good crowd. Now, so Stephen, you're in the light four-wheel drive class. Tell us a little bit about what that class is about, kind of the rules of it, and maybe a little bit about you and some of your competitors you have to face up against every weekend.
Well, we're a 500 cubic inch engine with a 112 inch wheelbase and a 4,000 pound max weight. We got should be five of us there this weekend, unless we have two others that show up. I wish they would, but I don't know if they're coming or not. So,
well, so we're going to talk. We got light four-wheel drives, and let's switch gears. Let's go into the tractors a little bit. I'm going to start off with you, Russell, because you had a busy weekend. You and the majority of the super farms went to Bowling Green. So tell us a little bit about your class. You're in the super farm class. And tell us a little bit about the rules of that class and what your extravaganza was this weekend up in Bowling Green.
Well, our class is 9,300 pound. And this weekend we went to Bowling Green. It was a lifetime experience. It was something I wanted to get off my bucket list. And of course, I figured I'd either be in the front or in the back. So it was 37 of us in the first session. And of course, I was in the back. And when I got up there, I was just as nervous as I don't know what. And Brad asked me, he said, "Now what gear you going to run?" And I said, "Well, I'm a gambling man. I'm going to run this gear." So we had to wait right. Everybody made a good pass. Me and Chris. Daniel, he was a little bumpy, and he got up a little bit too much. But and Killin, she sort of got off to the left a little bit. But other than that, we all done good. And of course, that Saturday, when I got ready to run, it started raining, and poor Daniel, he was back there in the back. He didn't even get to run, so they caught it. But it was a good weekend. And like I said, that was something I want to get off my bucket list, and it was a good time, good showing. And I want to thank Brad Gautier. and his dad, they do a lot of work on these super farms and on the hot farms and on the light pros too. My hat's off to them because they do a lot of work on all these tractors, and they do a good job on them. They sure do.
How much did Brad pay you to say that?
Well, he didn't pay me to say nothing. I'm just like what Chris said,
Oh
stick
yeah,
to the plan. So
I
anyway,
didn't know. I didn't know. I know y'all have a little bet going on when especially when you and Brad pull against each other. Y'all like to talk a little junk about it, so that's why I brought that up.
oh
Let's
yeah,
bring in, let's bring in Lauren and Perry real quick. We've already talked to Perry one time earlier in the year about another pull, but I want to bring Lauren in on this one because Lauren Davis, you and your sister Sarah have been a big inclusive part of pulling for many years. Now, you got two little boys, right?
Three.
Three. God, I can't count that high. Y'all ever hear me when I test a mic? So you got three boys. God, no wonder we hadn't seen you all year long. What what's the biggest thing you've kind of figured out, in pulling, or what's one of the biggest things you miss, maybe going to pulls every weekend?
Well, now that I have children, I miss being able to watch it. They love being able to go. They eat and breathe and sleep it, especially the youngest two. The oldest one, not as much, but they just love and eat up that their mom drives a tractor because even when they heard about Winston, I was instructed that I was gonna drive this weekend. It was not an option.
Who said that? Your kids or Perry?
My children. The middle one,
Oh,
Lawson, comes all the time.
It
yeah,
wasn't
yeah.
me. I can still drive, so it wasn't me.
But
It was
yeah,
a
and the biggest thing with me driving, I drive differently than the other two. I listen to it and I feel it, and that's how I drive it. I can't look at numbers. I can't follow. I don't do well at following directions all the time either. So I don't know, it's different because I listen to it and I feel it, and that's how I drive it.
well, a lot of drivers do that. They feel it in their butt, or they feel it in the chassis. When you're going in there and you start cracking it open, we lost Steven somewhere. When you crack it open, you feel like on my tractor I used to drive, you feel that shimmy and then it takes off. And that's when it's hooked. But you were talking about driving and all that. Perry, what do you think about her not driving? Do you feel a little more? How do you feel about her not driving? Because I know we used to kind of joke about her aggressiveness out of the hole because she was always giving it some RPMs.
Yeah, she's her foot's a little bit more lead foot than Sarah and mine. Sometimes anyway, but her driving
But
style really good on good tracks.
well,
And
I was going to say in what was it? You won in Lumberton, and where else did you win last year?
I won at Lumberton both nights, and then I won at did I win? Was it Wilson one night?
yeah,
No,
Yeah, yeah,
I think it was Wilson one night. Because then
yeah. So,
the other time I lost the wheel.
oh yeah. We don't want to talk about that.
that's some of that driving style. Yeah.
Yeah, but it pays off because, like in Lumberton, we're going to be going to Lumberton the first weekend in September. So that's going to be a big show going up. That's going to be a regional national event. So that's something you definitely want to hang out for. If you've got the opportunity to go to, definitely go to it. That's going to be a big show. But talking about Winston this weekend, this one's always been a pretty big show because it's right in the center of the state. You're able to pull a lot of pullers out of the northern states in the East Tennessee. So normally you have a big crowd of vehicles. Probably, what do you? I'm just going to ask all of y'all this. What do you think is the most popular class that everybody wants to come and see?
When we did some of the surveys several years ago, most of the time it was the tractor classes. Um, Back then there was more super stocks and stuff, and the super farm class I think was some of the more popular. Now with the light pro class coming on and the hot farm class, we got quite a few numbers in it, and still the super farms, but the hot farm class has become pretty popular. So
It has, in fact, right now the hot form class I believe has about 11 on the docket right now that are basically running every weekend. But now the super farm class has picked up a little bit. Let me pull this up real quick. I'm going to swing this over. Let me add this to the stage real quick. I'm going to kind of, and this is kind of hard to see, so I'm probably going to hide all of us if I can. Let's go here. Yep. So you'll still be able to hear me on this. So if you look right here, this is just a points rundown of where we're at right now. And if you look at it, the biggest thing, if you look at the super farms, Daniel McDonald is in the lead, but only by 1 point over Chris Hales and Rodney Jackson are tied at 36. And Russell, you're sitting back at 33. We're going to have to bring you up. We're going to have to talk about this a little bit. Here, let's bring you up. Add you to the stage here for a second. Da-da-da-da. All right. So if we look at this right here, you're 4 points out from first place. Now, the way the points work here, basically it's a 10-point scale. So if you have a really good night, Russell, you can flip this back and be right up on top.
Yep, that's right.
And so some of these tracks we're going to, I would probably say Lumberton's going to be more in your wheelhouse. In fact, a couple of years ago, you were on a vacation the same weekend as Lumberton, had never won. Rodney drove your tractor. Tell us a little bit about what happened with Rodney that night.
Well, I always pick with him when Ronnie Strickland was living. He told me one night, he said, Russell, he said, you the only man I know that's going to get fired from driving another man's tractor. And if you beat Chris Hale, you just going to be fired altogether. So I picked with Rodney. I told him, I said, well, I went out of town. I said, so you could drive my tractor and win. And I said, that make you feel good. But no, that tractor just does good at Lumberton. And I think the second night he went out of bounds. But man, I got new tires this year. And that's something to get adjusted to, get used to. Got to find the right air pressure and all, but it's coming around. It's a lot to learn, but anyway, I hope I can do a whole lot better at Winston this weekend. That's my goal. So,
well, you are actually really good at Bowling Green. You placed right in the middle of the pack.
Yep.
Oh, there's Steven. Hey, Steven, let me add you back. Hey, buddy, you came back.
Phone ringing. It don't never shut up.
So we were just talking about Russell's first time he could have won a tractor pull, and he decided to go four-wheeling or go on vacation. So, that was – hey, you haven't missed a tractor pull since, have you, Russell?
No, I haven't. I sure haven't. But they still rag me about it all the time. So anyway, they ain't going to give me no slack.
What were you going to say, Steven?
I said he's afraid his boss man's going to show him up.
He did that night.
That's
yeah.
Right.
So, and I've got the points up, and apologize, really can't see it. I'm actually working with Shell right now. They're going to be upgrading some stuff as far as this go to make it a little bit easier. But looking down at the points in the super farms, Caitlin McDonald sitting at 28, and the flows, unfortunately, due to some family things that have happened, they haven't been able to join us this year. Looking forward to seeing them. They should make their first time out this season here in Winston-Salem. We're looking forward to seeing them. Looking into Pro Farms, number one right now is Justin Sturdivant, Darren Sturdivant, and Zachy Visit. So right now, Justin, with that Red Iron Special that he resurrected, that tractor that tractor has been around a while. It used to be a super farm, turning into a pro farm, and right now he's found the mojo with it. He's sitting up top. I think he's aggravating Zachy a little bit, don't y'all think? You know how
I think he is too.
He's working.
Yeah.
But you look at Hunter and Kendall Beasley, they're sitting at 30. Abby and Beth McDonald, they've been still working on that tractor, trying to get that little bit of hop out of it, but they're making adjustments and getting it set up pretty good. It's coming around. Nathan Kiger, good to see him finally getting that tractor running, getting some consistency back up into it. And Robert Creech Creech, glad to have him back on no words. He's sitting at 24.1. And Durham Hammett on that black stripe 1066. And DJ Stevens on Screwed Up Buck. Does anybody know what happened to DJ? I think he ran the first night in Taylor's, and unfortunately he had something happen engine wise. Does
He had
anybody know?
metal. I think he checked the filter and it had a bunch of metal, and he went home. And I've seen him since, but I didn't even think to ask him, how everything was coming along. So
I can find Ed. I'll message Ed and find out what's going on with that. But looking at a few of the other classes, Andy Dutton, he's got that one running pretty good on the junk wagon, which he had some issues, but they've got him fixed up with the camshaft. Chris Hales on another outlaw. Marty Harrell is looking to be out probably. What do you think, Russell? Probably, hopefully, by Lumberton is what the game plan is. They're doing a lot of modification. Yeah.
Yep.
Light Pro Stocks. Oh, look at this.
Yep.
Perry, you're on top, buddy.
Yeah, but that don't mean I'll stay there.
That's
a tough class.
I was going to say you got Hunter right on your tail right now, only 2 points out, and Kendall right there behind him. There, Ron had some major block damage and is getting a new motor put in, so that's what's going on with him. So hopefully, I don't think we'll see him this week. Not unless a miracle happens. I know Brad's working his butt off trying to get it together. But hopefully that'll come around. James Van Hoyt, we'll see him this weekend. Don't forget about Dewey Jones on the Hoss. They're going to be around here also. Mini rides, right now we're looking at, it's going to be Alan Hudson and Cody Singletary. There'll be a few more that may roll in. Still working on that a little bit. Four-wheel drive is going to have about 5 or 6 working on that. Trying to pull a few more of those guys out of Georgia this weekend. The weather's going to be perfect, folks. If you got the opportunity, you definitely don't want to miss it. I think, Steven, this is probably the best weather y'all have ever had. Oh, we lost Steven again. Well, I asked Perry then. Steven just disappears.
Yes, I would say this is probably the best forecast so far that we've had in a long time. So it's going to be a good event, and hope everybody comes out.
So, yeah, and just going down the line here, I'm going to be pretty quick on this. Right now on two-wheel drives, Brandon Lee's in the lead with 39 points on Wild and Blue. John Pickler on that Game Changer. Now, I heard he had some issues. I talked to him the other week, and he was actually he's got a new chassis, got his body on it, got all that set up. And long story short, it was cutting grooves in the tire. The body was in it. So he took a week or two to get that straight, but he's back out and going. But Brandon Lee winning that first weekend, and then if you look at the following results, he stayed pretty consistent there, so that's really helping him out. And appreciate Steve Wilson and Crystal Wilson and Darren coming down, and of course Mr. Alan Brown's back into it too. And Steven, hold on, let me find him. Oh, there he is. You're back for a minute anyway. Butch is in the lead at 40, and you're number 2 at 36. What are you gonna do with Butch?
I don't know. We making ground on him. We caught up to him a little bit in Wilson, so maybe the tables are turned in Winston. But with us working as much as we got to do, normally I ain't on my A game in Winston, so I'm worried about putting spectators in the seats. That's our main goal over there.
Well, and your dad, did y'all do something to him? He's kind of falling back a little bit than what he normally. I mean, he's only 1 point behind you, but after the last couple of seasons, I think you finally got that Killin time truck turning around a little bit.
Yeah, we've been we put new tires on it, and it's kind of like any other class. You go to changing stuff, you got to regroup, and we just started back over with a baseline and started working our way back up.
Well, in fact, I'm going to pull up one of probably your best runs from last season. Let's pull that one up right now. So, Steven, let me ask you this real quick. On that run right there, that was probably the best that truck sounded and hooked. I know you were running with a lot of little gremlins last season. How did you feel after that run?
Well, I was feeling real good after that run. Actually, that Dad was driving at the NC State Fair. We were having our baby. Me and my wife was. So
that's what happened.
Yeah, Dad took over the driving, and he said I might need to drive more often. I've had better luck with it than you have. So
that's right. So you got that new little baby boy. He's been running around. We saw him a little bit last night. We were doing this little test, and I totally had forgotten that it was that same weekend. You should have scheduled that better. Did you not? Did you not talk with Abby about that? About having it like the week after?
Well, after it was all said and done, they had actually missed the due date. So if they would have been right on the due date, I would have been able to win. Well, if she'd have let me win. So
well, there's more important things, but that truck's definitely running better. I totally forgot about that. I'm glad you reminded me. That tells you how my brain is working today. All right, so I want to bring up one thing in your class that has been something I've noticed too. The tires, the tire cuts that you guys are using, is there different brands? Like, are you mismatching the front to the rear, or what's the deal in that class right now with the light four-wheel drives?
Yeah, we've been switching them up. I got to run a different set on the front than we are on the back. It's about the same tread cut pattern, but just a softer tire compound on the front.
So yeah, and a lot of people don't realize that's a big thing with pulling is especially, it doesn't matter what class. In fact, Russell, you were talking about the new tires you got. One of the big things that I've noticed in this sport is it's a lot more about tires than what it used to. I mean, 20 years ago, you had 2 or 3 different brands and that was it. Well, now you've got about 8 different brands. In fact, one of the Region 4 sponsors, Pro Puller Tires, those guys are in on it with some new compounds and some new stuff. Somebody said they wanted to see Abby in it. Hey, look who this is. Daryl Cash. That's a familiar face popping up in here. Oh, Mark's joining in too here. He's just saying, "Hey guys, sorry he's late. What were you doing?" Oh, this one you're gonna like, Russell. The White Line Bandit.
God almighty. I'll go to my grave with that.
So
it's funny that he brought that up. When I ordered a new fire suit, of course, you know how Chris and Brad are. I don't know if I told them it was all right, but they just took my jacket, and when I got it, it's got it stitched on the back, the White Line Bandit. So between them and Kendall reminding me about that, I won't never forget it. So
hold on. I got a picture. Let me find that picture. I know exactly where that picture's at. You hang on a second. I want to make sure everybody sees this. All right, hang on. Let me find it. It's somewhere in here because my wife took all the pictures for that one. Hang on. But yeah, so White Line Bandit. Now, what happened? How did you get that name?
well, Kendall let me drive his tractor one year, the Farmer's Pride, the one that Steven's got now. And I drove his, and it was really, really smooth. So, and I drove for Perry one time too, a couple times. Well, I've never had to touch the brake. Well, on that one, when I took off, I should have had my foot on the brake. As soon as it come up, it went to the right and it went out of bounds. I let out on it, and I said, "What the heck? I'm already out of bounds. I might as well mash on it." So I got turn signals that year at the banquet, and then of course that's how I got the nickname. So there you have it.
Give me a second. I gotta add this up here because this is worth showing. I'm not meaning to pick on you, but it's kind of funny, a little bit.
That's
Hang
all
on,
right.
that's all right. What's the worst thing you're gonna do? You have to work with me tomorrow.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Let's see if I can get this pull up. All right, so let me ask a few questions here. I wanna know. Let's pull up Lauren. So, Lauren, what were you thinking when you left the line on that one?
I don't remember. That was a long time ago. My goal
So,
was to get and be further
what?
than everybody else. That didn't happen.
So, so let me ask you this then. What goes through your head when you get ready? So, if you're sitting in the seat, you're strapping in. Do you have like a little thing that goes through, like you got to do this, this, and this before you get ready to run, or do you just hop in and just go?
I mean,
Perry's laughing for a
probably
reason.
no, because then if you think about things, then you're gonna mess up. I do have a process of how I put on. I have to hang my neck brace on the rail, the roll bar, so that I don't forget it. And then there is a process of how I do things in order. But then once the green line goes, that there is no process. There is. I tried to just drive and not think, because then when you start thinking, it just messes everything up.
Oh well, that's a good way to do it. That's maybe why I screwed up so much when I drove. Um, why somebody's laughing
When I
about? Let
get
me
to
pull
thinking,
the.
I normally do mess up. So
Let me see if I can get this to flip around real quick, guys. We got a ton of action coming up this weekend. Don't forget that is this weekend, 23rd. Hang on, let me look at myself. 23rd, 24th, 7 p.m. It's going to be a big show. A lot of stuff going to happen. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that picture of your fire suit. We're going to just share that on Facebook. I think that'd be a better idea. Russell, he ain't heard me.
No, I wouldn't have it no other way.
Guys, we gotta let's talk about a few other things. I'm gonna start with you, Russell. Where do you see the sport in 5 years? Where do you want to be in the sport in 5 years? Is there any particular level you want to do or a goal you have in 5 years you would love to have accomplished?
Well, my goal is, which is like everybody else's, is to get better at each and every run that you make, and I just hope that the organization in the sport keeps growing. Um, and also, I would like to, the younger generation needs to get in and get their hands and feet dirty with it, and I'd like to be part of that too. But I just hope that the sport keeps growing and it gets better. So that's and I hope I keep my ride too. It's a good ride, and I thank Rodney and his family for giving me the opportunity to drive. So everybody don't get that opportunity, but I just hope everything continues to get better and keep going forward. And anyway, that's what I look for.
So I'm gonna switch this to you. I'm gonna ask both you, Lauren and Perry. I'm gonna finish up with you, Stephen, because few people know what you got going on, but in the background. But let's go with you, Lauren and Perry. Where do you want to see the sport in 5 years, or what do you want to accomplish in 5 years in the sport?
Hopefully, the sport, as Russell said, will continue to grow. The young people get into it. The new classes and things. Hopefully, that's going to help promote more pullers to get involved. And it's a big job to put on a show and do the things that it takes to make it all happen. But in 5 years, we just we just hope it'll continue to grow here in North Carolina. Anyhow, so
Well, there's a lot of things that are going on. There's a lot of things changing in the sport here in the state. I guess the biggest question is, are we going? The vehicles. We're getting a few new vehicles every year, adding into the group, which is a good thing. Um, and that's what I would love to see as the numbers come back up. A couple of these classes are really struggling to get enough vehicles. Mods have taken a big hit. Minis are taking a big hit right now, and that's just that's the cycle of it. I mean, if you look at pulling overall over the last 20 years, you see cycles where we had shows averaging 12 mini rods and 5 modifieds, and now it's kind of, and we had just a couple of tractors. I mean, Perry, we were talking about it the other day when you were lucky to have 3 super farms, you know,
Oh yeah.
and,
Yeah.
you know, that kind of deal. So, Lauren, what do you have any goals or ambitions in the next few years with pulling?
Well, I mean,
I'm
no,
asking. Wait,
but I know this is a loaded question. No, I agree with Russell. I greatly appreciate that Dad has been into this, that I have been able to do this because, like he said, not everybody can. My children, especially, being able to see and go as much as they can, because most people you don't get that experience. You're not able to go every weekend. They get to see the one that's here in Winston or the state fair, the ones that are close by, and then that's it. So it is a blessing to be able to have this experience and be part of it, because it's not something that, and a lot of people don't even know what it is still, and I still have to explain that to them when I go to work and tell them they need to come to a tractor pull.
that is I agree 100%. I mean, everybody knows I live in Pine Tops, and this poll's been going on for 40 some years, and it is still people in that town that have no clue what it's about, you know. And that's what we're here for. That's what we're working on to get to it. And I'm gonna finish with you, Stephen, on this question, but I'm gonna add this up to the screen. Barry's ready for you. What
Yeah.
you got from what you got for Barry?
All I can tell him is better bring his A game.
Well, so let's talk about, where do you see yourself in 5 years in this sport?
Well, like everybody else said, hopefully, it's several of us younger generation pullers that are, involved, but it's a lot. I see that a lot of a younger generation needs to get more involved for us helping build the pools. It's several of us that put the pools on every year, and I'd like to see more pools. When I started pulling um, in 2011, we pulled about 16 to 18 hooks a year, and and to get it, the older generation people that help put your pools on, that they were the backbone of the sport, and having a place to go run. And that's one reason why it's a lot of work to put a pool on. And with Perry coming back in with me and helping with Winston, I mean, me and him together, it takes a big group of people to put these events on, and that's what I see that, we need more of that throughout the state, people that'll take the chance and put in the legwork, because we can all have pulling vehicles, but if we ain't got nowhere to go pull, then, they kind of useless.
So, a lot of people know, and some people know, some people don't. But you got something sitting in the shop right now that you got to get working on.
Yeah, we've had it. I picked it up last year from Kendall and Beasley, and we had all intentions of having it running by now, but we when the baby come along, and that threw a monkey wrench in things and didn't go quite as I had planned, and when you got as much going on as I do with 3 businesses, it's kind of hectic. But me and Daddy's done pretty much set our head to it that it will be running before next year. So we got a lot of it's sitting there. Basically, the tractor's ready to go. We got to change the ring gear and pinion in it, and get the motor in it and everything. But other than that, and once we get the engine in it, we'll be ready to go, hopefully.
So and you're going to be running in the Pro Farm class with that tractor, right? Correct.
Yep.
Yeah. So, all right, have you come up with the name for it yet, or you just hadn't really?
We're gonna leave it to Farmer's Pride. We the name, me and Kendall talked about it. The name come with a tractor, so I wanted to keep that mural on the side of it that's on the side of the tractor.
Yeah.
So
Well, that's a good fit for what you do. You've had a little bit of a rough year as far as the farming business goes, and Russell's job and my job are kind of involved in that too. So we need to give a shout out to the farmers because a lot of them right now are struggling just to try to get what they can. That one storm dumping all that rain really kind of messed things up for a lot of these farmers and stuff out there. And we can't forget that they're a big integral part of what's going on.
yeah,
I mean, we can't eat without them. We can't do anything without them. So I
yep.
always thank a farmer. But what we're going to do is we're going to wrap things up right here tonight, folks. I appreciate you joining in with us. Matthew Carter just sent in and said they got a good class of two-wheel drive coming. I kind of figured by what I'd heard it was going to be a big group. So, folks, if you're looking to see smoke, if you're looking to blower motors, if you're looking four-wheel drives, we got everything for you. If we can roll coal, make noise, and dig. Don't worry, we got you covered. Come out there hungry. There's plenty of vendors on site. Pick you up a Winston Salem t-shirt. Don't forget those. And FFA, let me go back to you. That's one other thing. See, all you had to do was say, Bert, shut up and let me say my part. That's all you had to say. She's on mute. Did she mute herself? You're on mute. You're not on mute. She's not. Hello.
One thing when they're trying to figure out what's going on there, Bert. I'd like to give a shout out to Ashboro JCB. They come on board to helping us out. Actually, we got it put together in the past 2 days. So give a shout out to them. I think they're watching on here tonight. So
are there any other sponsors, big sponsors you got for this show? That you?
Not just besides me and Perry. It's me and Perry.
Y'all are the big sponsors for this one, huh? It's your pocketbook on the line, huh?
Yeah, well, me and him both. But hopefully them grandstands is full. That's what we're hoping for, and we ain't got to be on the receiving end of paying out.
All right, are you back?
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. There you go. All right,
can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah. All right, give us the spiel. Let's talk about the FFA.
Oh gosh.
You there?
My internet must up. Yeah, I'm here. It's doing something weird. I don't know. But anyways, so also from am a driver, but I'm also a FFA North Davidson alumni member. So because of that, I get volunteered to be the speaker for today. With the FFA, there's all kinds of activities. I've looked in getting my children involved, but there's all kinds of things from working at the tractor pull to the fair, showing cows, goats, sheep, all of that. We used to go to FFA camp. There's so many things that the FFA does, along with helping with me and my sister. We both did a co-op through school, and if it weren't for the FFA at North Davidson, then we wouldn't have been able to do that. It kind of helped get our foot in the door. I know some other people that if it weren't for the FFA, they wouldn't have been able to have the jobs that they had for years and years. So there's a lot of things that the FFA does, but one of the things that they do is they have the half and half raffle at the Winston-Salem Fair. And everybody, please purchase tickets. Whatever amount that they get for that one night, once they draw the ticket, you get half, and the North Davidson FFA students and members association to help go to those camps and do all of those things, they get the other half. So it is they also help clean the fairgrounds, help with the gates, help with parking. If it wasn't for the North Davidson FFA, a lot of stuff also would not get done.
Yeah, that's one thing you see about it. When you get there in the afternoon, gates are opening at 5 o'clock, folks. So come on in early. The weather's going to be great. It's not going to be too hot. The weather's going to be perfect. Get in, walk around the pits, check out all the vehicles. This is an open pit, so you can walk around, take pictures, get autographs, that kind of thing. walk through, get in there early, check everything out, folks. Great grandstands, plenty of seating. If it's like Saturday night, we hope it is like Saturday night last year, where it's nothing where we're having to pull out folding chairs and give people places to sit. We hope that is a big thing that happens. I wanted to show you this. I just want to let you know. I wanted you to see that, Stephen.
Yeah.
Abby, yeah. But to give a shout out to me.
I would like to say my mom, her and my mama don't never get enough credit. My mama always fusses at me. She was fussing at me last year. She said when we was at the banquet, she said, you mentioned everybody's name, but you didn't mention me. And so I'd like to thank both of them too. I mean, it just, you got so much on your mind when you up there, and I ain't the best in front of a crowd of people. So, you know, you let things slip your mind, but I would like to give a shout out to both of them because Abby done all the postcards. Her and her mama did and got them sent out. Mama's been working on everything far as getting all the people together for the gate and working on that stuff between Jackie and my mama and Lauren and Sarah and the whole crew that's gonna help with the gate. Because if it weren't for them and everybody that helps us in general, it's no way we could put it on.
Yeah, it takes a lot of manpower. I was talking to some people up there in Bowling Green, and that's a huge show. And they said it takes about 200 people just to work the basic things, the basic logistics of that show. So that's crazy. And even in this show, if you think about it, with all the UPOC workers, got to give a shout out to them. Those guys work hard. They take their weekends, go out to help put on the show. But you have all those workers. You have, Stephen, the whole Perry family, and you've got a lot of people that are out there that are just volunteering their time. You got the FFA, and yes, they do get a lot off that. But folks, that is our future. That's something we got to look. We got to help those people so they can help us in the future. Because I'm not young, Stephen, you're not young, Lauren, you're young. I'm not going to count you in on this. Russell's an old fart, and so is Perry. But you know, that's what we got to look forward to. One other thing I want to throw into, and Jeremy brought this up too, the pedal pull, that is going to be Saturday. That's normally around 6 o'clock. 40 to 70 pounds. Obviously, I can't get in on that class. I could probably chop off one leg and get it done. But 40 to 70 pounds, that's a cool thing to do for your kids. There's 3 different weight classes. So that's something you definitely want. If you got kids, bring them on Saturday. They can do the pedal pull. They can walk around, get autographs, all that kinds of good stuff. Folks, we're going to wrap it up right here. Any last words from any of y'all? Y'all good? Everybody?
Nope.
Lauren's like, just get me off this darn thing. Yeah. All right, guys, we're gonna see you Friday night. Get on out there. If you get off work at 5 o'clock, roll on out there. Get out there. Grab you something to eat at the track. Got an action-packed show for you. The weather's going to be perfect. You might as well make it spend your whole weekend up there because it's gonna be the same classes on both nights. But I promise you, this is what's going to happen. Friday night's track is going to be one way. Saturday night's track is going to be different. They're going to switch classes around. So it's going to be a different show both nights. So who won Friday night necessarily does not always win on Saturday night. So, folks, join in. We're going to wrap it up. If you guys hang on here a second, we're going to play the commercial. I'm going to take y'all off the stage, include my happy self, and we're going to play it.